Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us today on the Real Estate Podcast. I'm Todd Sumney, the Chief Industry Officer here at HomeSmart, joined today by...
Hi, this is Marvin Martinez. I'm team leader at Team Martinez in Denver, Colorado.
Love that. And
And your co-host, Rich LaRue. Happy to be here today. We've got a great conversation for you.
we
So,
do, we do. Yes, Marvin, would love to introduce you to our audience here. Marvin Martinez out of Denver, Colorado, is one of our top agents in the entire United States. And one of the things I appreciate most is his servant heart toward customers and how everything he does is about helping customers, serving customers, and helping them achieve home ownership, and just talking about the experiences that he has had with his customers. But along the way, he's also learned a thing or two. And he is very generous with his time in our HomeSmart brokerage in Colorado, participating in the mastermind groups that take place in some of our offices, but more importantly, teaching classes and teaching tactics and concepts to agents about how to serve your customers, how to grow your business, how to do more transactions with buyers and sellers. How do you build awareness of your servant capability, I guess is a good way to put it. So that's what we're going to dig into today. And Marvin, thank you for joining us.
Oh, thank you, Todd. The honor is mine. Thank you also, Rich. Yeah, the honor is mine, and I appreciate the opportunity to contribute.
I love that. Well, let's go back. Let's tell me a little bit. How many years have you been in real estate, and how did you get into this business?
Oh gosh, Todd, let's see. So this is my 31st year of being licensed. And it started in Texas, in San Antonio, Texas, when I was working for Marriott. I was a manager with Marriott Corporation,
Okay.
and I thought at the time, back in the mid 90s, I thought, I'm going to get my real estate license. I thought it was fun. I thought I just kind of see some of my neighbors that was having fun with it, and I got my license. But back then, there were no coaches, there were no mentors. So I got my license in Texas, but really didn't do anything with it. Marriott brought me to Denver back in 99. And in 99, the market was booming here, kind of like similar to when the interest rates were down to 3%. There were multiple offers on houses, and houses were flying off the market. And I thought to myself, I'm going to get my license here in Denver and just kind of feel this market out and see what happens. Sure enough, I did. And once I started diving into the market here in Denver, I found out that was my passion. That's what I really needed to do. And I left Marriott. I left corporate America in general in the rearview mirror after that, and I never looked back.
You know, hearing you tell that story, it just yesterday, candidly, I heard a clip from someone who was just talking about how, realtors are they made a gross statement that I took offense at, that was saying, realtors, they're just somebody who moved on from something else they weren't successful at. And, that's often not the case. That's not the case from what I hear. And real estate is a profession. And just hearing you talk about that, you moved on from corporate America to a higher purpose. And and I appreciate that. And I wish other people wouldn't say otherwise, about our profession.
That's true. And you chalk that up for envy, chalk that up for whatever they're getting their information from. But once we figure out our passion and our purpose, and once we figure out that this is a servant type position, and we are contributing to the lives of not just one person, not just a husband and wife type situation or a couple situation, we're transforming that generation moving on. So it's not just the immediate client that we're affecting for lack of a better word, the downline of that family in that generation going forward.
Right.
And it's amazing the impact that we can make, and not a lot of us know that's the impact that we make.
Right.
And when we in part of my teachings, in part of my class, we talk about how it affects the ripple effect that it affects everyone else in the family. And when we provide the kind of service to these folks, they'll remember that. And especially when we incorporate that on a level that is equal to them, it's family. We consider them family. I consider them family. They consider me family. And
Right.
when we embrace that concept, yeah, it's an amazing feeling. It's just absolutely amazing.
Wow. I love hearing that. So let's dig in. What are some of the things that you have wanted to share with other agents like you, our listener audience, our fellow real estate professionals wanting to serve clients better? What do you teach in your classes? What do you discuss in those mastermind groups when you participate?
So the main core concept, Todd, is relationships. So being able to contribute to another human being on a level that is involved to a level of relationship where you care about people and not just it's not necessarily real estate related. It's them as an individual, it's their family, them as a being. When you can contribute to someone else's life that way, that's the core purpose of what we do. And when we talk about lead generation, when I talk about lead generation, I talk about relational lead generation, because bottom line, we are sales. We're not selling houses, we're selling ourselves. And when we relate to people on that personal level, one, they trust you and they like you. That's two reasons why they hire you. They got to like you and they got to trust you. Not everyone's going to like us, but when you contribute of yourself to someone else's life on such a personal level, they can't help but know that you care. And when that care is sincere and genuine and authentic, and they understand what you do for a living and they trust you, they're going to want to work with you or refer you to someone who is in the business or is in the market to buy or sell real estate, because they've now put a label on us. Just like there's some people out there that have a negative opinion of what we do, those people that we affect have a positive opinion of what we do and will go out of their way to refer to us. So, here it is. So this is a handout that I give. It's called relationship-based lead generation. It's what I teach and it's how we uh, get our clients. It's how we work with folks.
Right.
And it all starts with conversations. It starts with the ability to make an introduction phone call to someone in your sphere and create and nurture that relationship. And what I mean by that is booking appointments. You book a coffee appointment, a face-to-face, sincere, authentic relationship, and you will meet with them face-to-face and talk to folks. You will ask about their lives, ask about their family, ask about their work, ask about what they do for fun, ask about what their aspirations are for the future. I think there's a book out there that utilizes the Ford concept. What book is that? Do you remember? Family, Occupation, Recreation, and
Selling
Dreams.
is the entire selling program they incorporate the Ford uh, uh, principles.
Rich, what
And
was the first part there? It didn't come through on the audio. The first part?
Ninja Selling,
Ninja?
the entire program is based around that. And so there you go. Right.
Right.
How handy is that, Marvin?
There
Right.
you go. And I've been through all the sales programs, and I take a little bit of each, but that's definitely one of the parts that I take from that particular book is the Ford concept, because a lot of the newer agents, the brand new agents, fresh out of school, the school is great for helping them get their license, but doesn't teach them how to market themselves, how to talk to people, what do I say? So a lot of the biggest question I get from newer agents is, Marvin, once I book an appointment, what do I say? what do I talk about? And so we always revert back to the Ford concept. And in our meetings and what we do, we role play quite a bit. We try to get that nervousness out of someone's vocabulary early on through role playing. And when we role play in front of other agents, people feel a little funky about that. They feel a little weird about, no, I don't want anybody to see me. I don't want anybody to, no, I don't want, I'm scared. And we get that out initially in a safe environment, which is our mastermind meetings, our classes. We get that nervousness out so that when they go out into the public, there's less of that nervousness.
Right, right. So take us back to the beginning of your career a little bit. Uh, how did you build your clientele? And what are some of the stories along the way? How did you help people? And how did that spur on other business? And then an underlying question is, somewhere along the way, did you start to build a database, or how did you start to keep track of these relationships, or is it just all natural and, in your phone? So take us back to the beginning.
Got it. Oh my God, the beginning. Okay, so I was married. I'll just take you back to the emotional part of the beginning because that's really where it all started. So I was married for 29 years and unfortunately wasn't supported in my efforts to really branch out in real estate alone. My spouse at the time was fixed on having a secure paycheck, the Marriott, having a fixed insurance plan, having a fixed all of this, and so I really didn't have that support in branching out and doing it on my own. Unfortunately, that relationship didn't last. So after 29 years, we decided to separate, and we officially legally separated in 2016. And I believe I may have closed three transactions in 2016 total. When I was part of the friction that her and I had was I was sharing with her the concept that I wanted to do that nobody taught me that I felt would work. And at the time, it was like, no, we need a paycheck. No, we need insurance. Okay, but my concept, I really got a good feeling about this. And so that year that we officially legally separated in 2016, I started doing everything I was putting on paper, all my plans. And this is where this came into play, the relationship-based lead generation system. That final quarter, that fourth quarter of 2016, I did nothing but what I teach now. 2017, I closed 72 all by myself with no transaction coordinator. And proven to myself that this works. This absolutely positively works. And one of the things, Todd, that I did, and I learned the hard way because I didn't do it right away. I did not organize myself. I went out and I created as many relationships as I could. I made 20, 30, 40, 50 calls, sometimes 100 calls a day just to book appointments, just to meet with people face to face, just to have conversations about their life. And in result of that was business. That's what was the result of that. But the first 3 months or so, I failed to organize, and I learned really quick I need to get an organization system. So I created my own CRM at the time, and I started making notes for every single meeting. I spoke about this, I spoke about this. On this day, we had coffee, and I would put reminders for the future to be able to stay in contact with folks. That's the result of that is where the business came from. And so it's funny because I went out to Scottsdale in 2018 not knowing that I was going to place first in the state. And I thought that was the neatest thing. I thought that was the coolest thing, being able to nice big trophy and just, meet Matt and everyone down there and had a nice dinner. That was cool. But so being recognized as being number one in the state for units sold, I thought that was cool. Um, so that moving forward, I remember the very next year after that, I think it was Lynn Shute at the time, says, Marvin, you need to teach what you're doing because you came out of nowhere. You came out of absolutely nowhere. And I started teaching that. And that's when I really found my passion, when I started teaching this concept. Now, mind you, not everyone is comfortable making calls and meeting with people. Not everybody is comfortable doing that. So I had to figure out a way to change that mindset. Newer agents, especially, not knowing what to say, not knowing how to say it, because tone of voice plays a big role in this. Your physical demeanor plays a big role in this. And how we go about talking to folks is a big game changer because you got to come across authentic and sincere. And it has to come from the heart. You have to mean it. You really do. And if that's not who you are authentically, how do we change that? And I started attacking the psychology of that. And so as I work with newer agents who don't inherently possess that mindset, I work on the psychology of caring and getting folks to that mindset.
Rich, I see a big smile on your face, in reaction to some of the things he's saying. What
I'm just Marvin, you're preaching to the choir here. I mean, you cannot fake authenticity, and you just in fact I wrote that down because I thought it's a simple but so profound statement. We preach about caring. We talk so much about the care we take of our clients. This is not a transactional business, although it seems to be that's how we score it many times. That's how we score the game. But those who are a super success in this business, are authentic, and that's one of the threads that Todd and I see woven through every success story is the producers are authentic. They absolutely love what they do, and you're proving that yet once again.
yeah,
I can't sit. I feel like I've got a front row seat, on this podcast today. I'm just sitting here listening to you, and I find myself leaning in to what you're saying because you are authentic and you have obviously found your passion. You found your niche here, and work is never work when you love
yeah,
it that much and when
right.
you're plugged in. And so good for you. I just want to hear more. Yeah, Todd, I'm sitting here smiling. I've got a page of notes already. I feel like, here we've got a master class from Marvin today on the things that it takes to be successful.
Well, I honed in on the same thing that you just said, Rich, that authenticity it can't be faked, and the caring and the serving, it can't be. It is authentic or it isn't. And so it's got to be authentic and got to be real. So dig into a little bit. You just said an interesting phrase. You said you dug into the psychology of caring. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yes. So when I come across a student that doesn't inherently express or exhibit caring as a frontal type emotion, I'll ask and dig a little deeper. And sometimes I need to get away from the norm of my curriculum and start digging into their past a little bit. Start digging into their childhood. Start digging into how they grew up. Mom and dad, what happened there? How many brothers and sisters do you have? What do you remember most about your childhood? What was pleasant? What was not pleasant? And really start to dig into the core emotion of caring and find out where there may be a disconnect. And if there's a disconnect there, I'll focus on that to be able to help this individual know that this is a caring environment. And one, I show that I care about them. And if they can feel the level of caring that I have for their progress, then in time, and I've turned this around. I'll tell you, Rona Gates was my guinea pig. Rona Gates is our team manager, and I think Todd, you met her when you presented her the team awards not too long ago.
Right.
she was my guinea pig. And yeah, so I started with her because she inherently didn't have that. And when we dug into her past a little bit, obviously with her permission, we dug into her past a little bit, it started to evolve. And once she felt the level of caring that came from me in watching her progress and be able to care for her clients that way, that's, I got to tell you, that's the best trophy at all. That's the best award anybody can get is when the light bulb goes off
Right.
and they start teaching because now she's a teacher. Now
Right.
she teaches the team. And so
Yeah.
the psychology of that goes far deeper than any real estate license, than any YouTube video, than any CE course. It goes deeper into finding out where there may have been a disconnect.
Right. Right. Well, it's interesting, Rich, what you said earlier about it's interesting that how we score, the success is by numbers that may attribute to number of homes sold or to number of buyers and sellers helped, or sales volume, the prices, how much real estate, et cetera. But at the
Or
end
the
of the
ultimate
day,
slap in the face of our clients, whom we
right,
love so much,
yeah,
is how much we earn.
well, but at the end of the day, when
Yeah.
we do have these conversations with top agents like Marvin, it's the stories that come out about helping, bigger than any trophy. It's the story about how they helped someone um, who tried for years to buy a home and was having difficulty buying a home, and then they, you know, were successful. So I'm sure you have a few stories like that. Could you maybe tell one or two of stories about how you've helped or helped families and helped that downline, of generations? What comes to mind when we talk about that?
Oh gosh, there's more than I can count on fingers and toes. And that's, I think, only because I've been doing this for a while here in Denver. So generations of family for me, started with one first-time home buyer and bought their first home. And obviously they may or may not been, what's the word I want to use, emotionally ready to handle that process. Coaching them and holding their hand all the way through to be able to recognize when they're stressed and when there may be some remorse in their, I guess, their conversation and their feeling, but helping them through those hurdles, taking a coach's standpoint as opposed to a realtor standpoint,
Right,
and to walk them through. Now, taking that family, watching them, visiting with them, because we're following up, or what the way I teach is that we're following up. Every quarter, we're visiting these folks. So we have it on our schedule to do, we love to do Popeyes, and we give out gifts every time we go. And we sit with folks and we see the improvements they made in the home. We see their family growing, and we see new children coming into play. And we also see them outgrowing the home that they initially bought. So now we're having to list and market their home for sale, and we're looking for a bigger home. Having to do that four times in someone's life, I got to tell you, Todd, that is just the best to be able to help someone from their very first home get into their fourth home because their family grew to the point that they just want more space. And in theory, everyone achieves to want to do more. So promotions happened at work, raises happen at work, they get better jobs, they get more education, they get more in a position of financially comfortable position to where they're able to afford these things.
right,
And being able to walk them through the entire process again and again and again, more times than I can count on my fingers and toes, I've got clients like that. And I got to tell you that when they come back to me with that wholehearted trust, and there's a hug instead of a handshake, and there is tears at closing, I won't wear white shirts anymore to closing, because they'll cry, and usually the wife will smear her makeup on my shirt. And it's like, and I can't get that off. So
right,
I end up throwing those shirts away because I can't get it off. But that's
right.
the kind of emotional. uh, it's what happens emotionally when you help someone throughout their lifetime. And purchasing a home, obviously, is going to be one of the biggest investments that anybody makes. So yeah, I don't wear white shirts to closing anymore because I tend to get them all smushed full of makeup and tears. But yeah, it's an incredible process to be able to watch it. But many occurrences of watching families go from their very first house to their fourth or fifth house.
And well, and there in Denver, because of the housing market, I would say the inventory, the growth of the city, the demand, that's been um, that's actually a challenging market as well to help people with housing because it's just oftentimes it seems like there's hurdles for people to overcome and it's a difficult market at times. So therefore, you have to be very good at what you do to help them. And it's good to hear those success stories from you.
It's yeah, so being working in a challenging market, regardless of what market it is. So back in the recent years when there were multiple offers on houses, 20 offers on one house in the first 3 days, that level and the psychology of caring doesn't just go from realtor to client, it also goes from realtor to realtor. And so, in an effort to beat out other realtors, remember, we're still in a relationship type industry. We got to be able to create that relationship with other brokers.
Mhm.
And in multiple offer situations, creating and opening up that conduit of information that gets passed and forth between brokers during a transaction starts at the very beginning. And when another broker knows that we care to the level that we do, it doesn't matter if we're the highest or best. They want to work with us. They want to work with that individual
Right.
because of that, because we
And in
know that
turn, and in turn, that benefits your buyers or it
exactly.
benefits your sellers.
Exactly. And I can't tell you many times when those interest rates were down around 3% and there were multiple offers on houses that I beat out offers that we weren't the highest and best. We were not. But just because we're able to create and bridge that gap between brokers and exhibit that level of caring, that's the attraction. That's where experienced realtors want to work with another experienced realtor that cares. The caring part is important.
Right. Right. So, what are some of the things that you're doing right now? It's spring of 2025. What does a week in the life of Marvin look like? What is it that you're waking up daily and then weekly? What are you doing?
So, a daily routine is something I stick to. I stick to this religiously. So, I'm an early bird. So, I tend to wake up anywhere between 3 and 4 in the morning. And that's just my natural alarm clock. I just get up between that time frame. A couple things I do before I leave my bedroom is I'll meditate. And usually I'll use a guided meditation. There's tons of them on YouTube, but I'll put on the headsets and I'll meditate. I pray. I do. I pray, and I'm a believer, and I'll pray, and I'll pray for others. I'll go into my closet. I will change and get ready for my workout, brush my teeth, take my vitamins. I make my bed. When I leave my bathroom and I leave my closet and I leave my bed, it's made. It's done. And then I go downstairs and I'll start coffee and then I'll go in the basement and work out. I got a gym in my basement. Nothing like getting a good sweat going early in the morning. And I got to do it in the morning because if I wait any other time of the day, it's not going to happen. There's a trail that I sometimes do in Parker. They have Parker stairs. There's an incline, and I like doing that twice a week, 3 times a week sometimes. For me, the colder the better. I just enjoy when it's really cold outside, and that just kind of grounds me. That morning routine grounds me. It gets me in the right mindset on what I need to do to set my day. When I'm done with the workout, I'll power up my computer. First thing I do is I pull up my calendar and I'll start planning and thinking and strategizing. Now, mind you, all of this is happening before 6 a.m. And so as I'm doing this, it's still dark outside. The house is quiet. Dog's still asleep. He's not an early bird. He's not a morning dog. So everyone is still asleep in the household, and I'm able to think and process. I'll look not only at today's calendar, but tomorrow and the day after. So every day I'm looking ahead and seeing what needs to be done. So my calendar is full. I make it a point to time block. And my time block will change depending on my client appointment. So if I have appointments, I like to do my time blocking in the morning, but sometimes that's not always possible. So if I have a client appointment at some time, I'll time block my calls, my sales calls sometime during the day.
Yeah.
And minimum of 10 phone calls, I shoot for 20, minimum of 10 phone calls, but I typically want to be able to create at least one appointment a day for the future. One appointment to meet with someone, one appointment. And sometimes they overlap, and sometimes there's multiple appointments in a day because of scheduling conflicts.
Okay,
But
so real quick, who are you calling and what is the nature of the call?
So at this point, they're follow-up calls. They're saying, "Hi, Todd, I talked to you last month. I know we had some coffee last month. I'd love to get together again. Do you have availability this week? I'd love to catch up and see how the family's doing." It's all about relationships. And the topic of real estate doesn't come up unless they bring it up. And if they bring it up, we're talking, I'm going to answer whatever questions they have. When it's a positive encounter and when it's a someone that I've stayed in contact with on a regular basis, I always ask for the referral. That's the perfect opportunity for me to ask for the referral is when we're departing a appointment or a coffee meeting or some kind of catch-up meeting, ask for the referral. You gotta, because if you don't ask for it, you'll never get it.
And you're
And
basically asking them, hey, do you know anyone that is buying or selling or in need of assistance right now? Is that the type of
Yep, Todd. So if Todd, if you know of anyone wanting to buy or sell real estate, Todd, I would hope that you would think of me. Todd, I would love to work with people just like you.
right?
I think that's a Buffini thing.
Okay.
It sounds Buffini-ish. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I take bits and pieces from
Right.
different speakers. So
But you're
uh,
investing time in relationships every day, every week.
every day, every week. And there does not go a day because you can invest in a relationship at the checkout line at King Supers, at the grocery store. Todd, there are some times that I'll go because I need just one or two things at the grocery store and I'll get a little basket, I'll go get it. And when I go to check out, I'll scan the lines and I'll look for the cart that is the fullest to stand behind that one. And that gives me an opportunity to be able to strike up a conversation because now I got some time. I got some time to be able to invest in this stranger whom I don't know, but I'm going to create a conversation over something that they've got in their cart, strike up that conversation, and at some point, we're going to dive into the Ford concept. So, are you barbecuing for the family? What's going on? What's happening? Oh, that's awesome. Really? So is that happening this weekend? Have you tried those ribs before? Those ribs are awesome. I've done those. You're creating and investing in someone because leads are everywhere. Everywhere we go, there are leads. But you're
Right.
creating an opportunity to be able to invest yourself to provide value to someone. They don't know what you do for a living until you tell them. And you look for that opportunity in a nice, casual, conversational way.
Yeah. Oh, love that. Love that. So keep going on throughout your day. You time block, you make some time. When do you do the transactional portion of the business? Meaning like, I don't know, inspections, coordinating certain things, paperwork, some of the things that have to happen because I'm pretty sure you have transactions going on all the time.
So I'm fortunate, and I got to tell you, I'm super lucky to have a team manager that helped me with my admin. So Rona Gates takes that a lot of that off of my plate, and she does a lot of my admin for me. She's also my TC.
Okay.
So she takes care of a lot of the scheduling and the paperwork stuff for me, where I can focus on sales. And I don't just generate sales for myself, Todd, I generate sales for the team. And so we both recognize that's my strong point. Her strong point is the admin side of what we do. And so she allows me the freedom to be able to focus on my strong side, and I allow her the freedom to focus on her strong side, which is the admin side.
Hmm.
The business side of it, I mean she'll schedule the inspections for us. I'll go to these inspections or I'll go to the whatever appointments that are face to face because that's my strong point. She also schedules our classes. So she'll schedule our classes that we teach, whether it be at the Westminster office, the Lakewood office, or the DTC office, or Castle Rock office. And I go, and I get on my soapbox, and hopefully I'm enrolling some of these agents into the process of caring and the relationship based of lead generation. So the rest of my day usually is client or lead generation focus because that's my strong point. Being able to pivot a conversation on a dime, just understanding and listening to what the other person is talking about is important. Now, that comes with practice though. So as part of my what I teach with my team in part of the role playing is we practice these situations. We try to get that nervousness out early so that when they go out into the world, it's less nervousness and there's less hesitation. And I hold our agents accountable for doing that. So I have access to their calendars and I get to see their appointments that they set. I get to see what they're doing. So they are mandated to make phone calls throughout the day to create appointments to be able to nurture relationships. And then at some point during the conversation, ask for the referral. And they're able to push themselves into a situation that a lot of newer agents are uncomfortable doing, but we make it to the point to where it gets comfortable. And with practice, you can now do this anywhere. I can't tell you, I got a client one time. She was thumping a cantaloupe in the produce section, and I thought it was intriguing because she picked up one or two and she was hitting them pretty hard. And I was listening to this. I walked over to her and I asked her to teach me what she knows about thumping cantaloupes because I'm guessing that she's trying to pick the right one for herself. We spent a good 5 or 10 minutes talking about thumping cantaloupes until I felt the opportunity to be able to introduce myself and what I do. And that resulted in a listing, and that person moved up and bought a new build. So there are leads everywhere we go. I think taking advantage of our strong points, recognizing what we're strong in. I think everybody has the ability to be able to create sales in wherever it is that they go.
Right.
But it's got to start from a very authentic place in their heart. And like I said earlier, if it doesn't exist automatically, I'll dig deeper into the psychology of that caring and find out where there may have been a disconnect to help that individual.
Right. Right. So open houses, social media, video, uh, thoughts on those? Um, do you are you utilizing those? Do you do open houses? Um, what other type of awareness type things do you do? But those
Okay.
topics specifically, social media, open houses, marketing, and I would even layer in listing presentation. Okay,
Absolutely.
go ahead.
Absolutely.
Talk about those four things.
Sure. So let's talk about social media first. Social media, I'm on every platform. The whole idea behind social media is consistency. You got to be able to do it on a consistent basis. So for me, it's daily. Sometimes it's 3 or 4 times a day. Posting something of interest, work related, work video, client testimonials, something personal. The personal part, I got to tell you, is very important because people have to know you as a person, as a human. They have to know you that way, in an effort to be able to be convinced and trust you that you know what you're talking about and what you're doing. So when you go and visit my social media platforms, it's very obvious on what I do for a living. It's very obvious. My banners, my all my posts, but it's also very obvious of who I am as an individual. Todd, you made mention of my dog who got up and left already. So there's many posts about him, about
Angel.
Angel,
Angel.
Angel, the 100-pound pit bull. And yeah, there's many posts about him. There's some posts about my son Michael that lives with me. I'll post achievements such as your picture with Rona when you presented her with our team award. I'm very proud of those things. And so I'll share of those on social media on every single platform. So, but the whole key behind it is consistency. You got to do it on a regular basis. People have to see you. And organically, people will come to visit your site and they will see something that they can connect with. And the only way that they can connect with you is if you represent yourself as a real human being with real flaws and real problems that happen throughout the day. So it's not just Marvin, the number one realtor in Colorado. It is Marvin. Yeah, guess what? I'm sick today and I don't feel good, or I'm making a bundt cake, and let me show you what I put into it. So there's a lot of human aspects that go behind the social media.
Right.
Um, the open houses, the next part that I think you asked me on. What better way to communicate with the public or with strangers but an open house when you know that they're coming to visit you to see and talk about real estate? When I stand behind someone at the checkout line at King Soopers, they don't anticipate talking about real estate while they're there. So it takes a little bit more of an advanced conversation to be able to introduce what you do for a living in an odd area like the checkout line at King Soopers.
Yeah.
In open houses, it's expected.
Right.
They're coming to you to talk about it. And so when I teach how to do open houses, and I think you asked if I do open houses, yes, I do. And I do them with newer agents because I will show them and teach them how I greet people, how I invite them in. And the way I treat a visitor is I treat them as if I am their realtor and I'm showing them the house. And I will educate on the care for double pane windows. I will educate on changing a furnace filter because most renters won't change out a furnace filter. I will educate on what to look for on a water heater to determine the age and talk about the age of these appliances, the age, the average age span of a water heater, and the average age span of the furnace. I
Mhm.
will talk to these folks about the different color tones that come with appliances in the kitchen, even though they are all saying stainless steel. But if you've got an LG model versus a General Electric model, and they're both white, there'll be two different white shades because they're two different models. And so we'll talk about these things. And if they come up with an objection, I'll give you an example. Like if they didn't like the wood tone on the kitchen cabinets, I talk about how easy that can be upgraded, how you can remove the doors, place them down on a drop cloth in the garage, paint them whatever color you like, drill holes in the corners for the handles, and how immediately you can upgrade your kitchen, just the look of it, by changing the appearance of it. Um, all of these opportunities to provide value to a visitor at an open house, that's not always the case with most realtors. Most realtors will stay in the kitchen and play on their phone or play on their laptop. But we make it a point to enroll our visitors in what we're talking about and stay engaged throughout the tour of the home.
Mhm.
And which is exactly so. I've got a brand new agent. Her name is Desiree. She just started back in February, the middle of February. Did an open house in Aurora on Rona's listing, and in that open house, she was able to secure a seller who is selling their home, wanting to buy a bigger home. And she is a brand new agent, first 30 days of training in her dialogue. And as I was teaching her, she was able to secure that already. And so when those things happen, nothing better happens than when a young agent doesn't know what they're doing, gets a feel for what it feels like to practice this conversation in real estate, take
Right.
them on a tour, show them the things that I teach the agent to show them, and that results in a client.
Well, and the beauty about that is that that person coming through that day, they had a need. They had a
Right.
need to sell a home. They just hadn't made the decision on who's going to help them search that or fulfill that need yet. They had a need for a bigger home. How am I going to do that? They didn't know. They're out, searching. So when you make that connection and that I'm here to help you or I can help you, hire me, that's I love that. So thank you for doing that.
So open houses are the absolute perfect. I know for whatever reason amongst our realtor industry, open houses can be a negative thing. I don't want to do them. I don't want to do the nobody shows up. I don't want to put out the signs because it's raining out. There's plenty of objections to do it, but that may be not the so glamorous side of it, but um, I'll offer for my teammates to put the signs out for them. Reason being is because I don't want them, if it's a hot day, I don't want them in the open house all sweaty and windblown and they're having to dodge cars, crossing the street, whatever the case may be. So I do offer to put the signs out for them. I even offer to pair up with them and help them in their conversation, and we'll role play within the open house. So if there's downtime, then yeah, we'll role play. We'll make use of that time as much as we can.
Right, right. I think we also were talking presentations to buyers and sellers.
So buyer's orientation is a must. I have a 45-minute, I believe it's 45-minute video of me doing an actual buyer's orientation. So there is a private Facebook page that I allow my team access to so that they can see me in video format talking to a client, giving a buyer's orientation. And the buyer's orientation that we incorporate is a step-by-step process from showing homes all the way to closing, and we explain that process in detail. And it allows that buyer to be able to ask any questions. We talk about out-of-pocket expenses, earnest money. We talk about what inspections are available to them, what that's going to cost, and when they have to pay for it. We talk about the appraisal process. We talk about closing. And what that does, it prepares them for what they're about to do. And in that buyer's orientation is when now we'll schedule our first outing. So if they are a Monday through Friday type job, then obviously we're going to be going out on the weekends and we'll go out, we'll schedule on that day, okay, Saturday or Sunday, and in a time block that we can go out and take a look at homes. We'll set them up in the portal in our MLS to be able to receive listings, and we follow up with them all the way up until our appointment to make sure they understand how to look for these listings in the portal. And if they have any questions or do we need to make some adjustments. They always choose the properties that they want to see. We always follow up with them the day before to get their choices so that we can make our appointments. We schedule our most efficient tour, and then we're off and running to the races on every single house educating again proper care of windows. Use a window cleaner with no alcohol because the alcohol dries out the seals of the double or triple pane windows. We'll educate them on furnace filters, on water heaters, on kitchen, on electrical, on plumbing, so that every outing there is something that we are providing value. And they look up to us about that because that's important. A lot of the folks that are renting previously, they don't know these things, and it's our job to be able to coach them and teach them. Um, we even in discussion talk about what it means to write offers, how we submit those, time frame of being under contract, and then take them in conversation all the way to closing. So the buyer's orientation is an important part. I have it on script and I have it on video so
Right,
that my agents can read this, study it, play the video, stop it or pause it, practice it, rewind, stop it, practice it, rewind, and that reputation in turn will now start to get them more and more fluent with the
right,
conversations that we're having.
right. How about print marketing or um, you know, magazines, postcards, referral type, items? Are you doing any of those things?
So we like to do community events.
Mhm.
And I'll give you an example. Megan is one of our agents, and she wanted to do an Easter egg hunt coming up in her neighborhood. And so our structure, Rona's and I structure to help support her is the print material that we helped her with. She put together a flyer. Rona, myself, and Megan are going to walk her neighborhood and physically present this flyer and with a personal invitation to each and every household. And I think there's 300 houses in her neighborhood. And in anticipation of hopefully that they can RSVP, we'll have a head count prior. My son Michael is putting together the eggs with candy in them, and I think we got 5 golden eggs with a restaurant gift certificate in it. We went and visited the Thornton Fire Department that services her neighborhood. And we invited the fire department to come and bring their truck so that the kids can come and take a look and play on the truck, and they can show them the truck and give them the little plastic fireman helmets and little sticker badges. So we create community events such as that, but we use a variety of different methods to get it out, whether it be social media,
Right.
print, obviously, but the most effective way to communicate these things is face to face.
Mhm.
And so that's why Rona, I, and Megan are going door to door to hand deliver these folks and hand meet these folks face to face to be able to personally invite them. That shows, in my opinion, the level of caring and sincerity and authenticity that we have in Megan's neighborhood. We
Right.
care about her neighbors and we want them to come. And yeah, we also got a Easter suit. I'm going to dress up as the Easter bunny. Yes, I am. And we're going to
Great.
take pictures with the kids.
I love that. I love that. Um, Videos. Do you do much video marketing?
We do, so we have a YouTube channel.
Okay.
There are hundreds, gosh, I lost count, but we have hundreds and hundreds of client testimonials and agent interviews. So whether it be me talking about the market conditions or a client testimonial talking about the experience they had with our team, we have hundreds, Todd. And from time to time, I'll take one of those videos, put it on one of the social media outlets, and actually market that out. And there's a paid program that you can do that with. There's a side of it that you can pay to be able to get that out. And it's all in an effort to get our word out and get exposure. That's all.
Right.
But videos are important. They are on the signatures of every email. They are on signatures of every text that I do, so that whoever it is that I'm communicating with can click on the link for the YouTube, and one of the first things that pops up is me talking. And now they can relate. Now they can connect whatever it is that I'm trying to communicate with in print with me actually speaking. And that's an important part because now it shows me as a human being and not just a tagline.
Love that. Last question for me, anyway. Neighborhood reports. Do you
Neighbor,
neighborhood reports and here's what's going on in your neighborhood information. Are you doing any of that? And what kind of results are you getting from doing that?
So, neighborhood reports, we do order a book, and I believe HomeSmart's title company offers these books for $15, I believe. Those go into every listing, and those are educational materials for not just the potential homeowner that's going to buy that home, but for the realtor who's showing that home, who may be asked the question from their buyers, tell me about the schools in this area. I like that. Well, they can immediately go to the book, pull open the schools tab and tell them and show them the rankings right then and there. Plus, we strategically keep that book after the closing in the kitchen cabinets so that if for whatever reason that agent does not follow up with that particular person, if they ever want to sell in the future, they'll pull out that book and use it as a resource. And of course, our team's information is on the cover.
Right.
The the monthly reports that we send out to our previous clients. We run a comp report in color along with a personal letter, and Rona does this for us because she's the mastermind behind the organization. She will run these for us and mass mail them. And then we follow up with a visit, usually is part of our Popeyes. So we strategically mail these comp reports out, the neighborhood reports and the comp reports on the previous clients that we've had, and strategically follow it up a week after, typically after we know they're going to receive it.
Right. Right. Wow, this has been a masterclass. This has been some
Yes, it
great,
is.
great information. If you think about your database and your sphere of influence, um, is it large? Is it smaller but deeper relationships? How would you describe it?
I think it grows every single month, and you hit the nail on the head. Every single one is authentic. Every single one is personalized. And because we use a CRM to be able to take notes, it's important that we all take notes on our clients and who we talk to and what we talk about, and stay up to date on family events that happen, a new child, a new dog, a new pet, whatever the case may be,
Which
that we're
C- which CRM are you using?
Ren 360.
One more time.
Ren 360.
Ren 360. Okay.
Yes. They utilize a lot of AI technology.
Okay.
And so they use an automated AI assistant to help us with a lot of the initial phone calls. And when the lead over the phone says they would like to speak to an agent, it gets transferred to me. And in turn, then I convert that to an appointment. Um, but yeah, those the every single one that we have, even though it grows, it just means that I need to be able to teach more people to do what I do. And right now, Rona is my clone. And we're in the process of teaching other agents to be our clones so that they can stay on top of our growing CRM and our growing database. Because literally, it'll be impossible for any one person to do.
Right. Right. Well, any final thoughts, or that we haven't, maybe that you had in your mind that we just haven't covered yet that you want to share with our listener audience, fellow HomeSmart agents like you, wanting to help buyers and sellers?
Um, Younger agents can get discouraged easily, and my recommendation is don't quit, don't stop. It will gain traction, and it may not happen in the time frame that you want it to be in, but it will eventually gain traction. And when it does, buckle up because there's nothing more satisfying than doing what we do successfully and earning a comfortable living at it. When you I feel the biggest stress reliever that we have is money in the bank. When you have enough to be able to pay bills, take care of your family, enjoy periodic vacations, to be able to enjoy life to its fullest, and at the same time make a positive difference in the world around you by creating generational wealth, by helping people buy and sell real estate, that's the best feeling. But once you get your license and it doesn't hit in the first 3 months, okay, don't don't worry. Don't panic. It'll be okay. I promise. Don't quit. You got to keep moving forward. Consistency is key. Persistence is key. You just got to keep at it.
Right. Love that. Rich, right up. Where is it? Okay, now up right there.
Right. Let's see.
Right
It's
there.
uh,
On the
there
other
we go.
side. That's we both have the Believe, poster from what is it?
Ted Lasso.
Ted
We're both
Lasso,
Ted
the
Lasso
soccer show.
fans.
Yep, Ted Lasso.
I
Love
love
that.
it.
Yeah. So what a great way to end it today.
You,
Thank you.
you know what? And I do not have a final question here. I feel like I have been ultra quiet on this podcast, and with good reason, Marvin. I think just letting you run with this. What What an education. Todd and I both have said this is a mastermind class. This is a master class. So to our audience, if you like this, please give us a thumbs up, and better yet, share it with a friend who needs to hear what Marvin had to say today, because this is classic information. Some people are going to say, "Hey, that's all old school stuff. There's not a whole lot of new in there." You know what? You're right, because that's what real estate is really all about. It's about relationships, and this is the most human business that I know of, because we get to affect the lives, and hopefully have a positive effect on the lives of our clients, our customers, and we just need to remember to be human with them as well, because hey, you know what? That little girl who's the daughter of your client who's so excited about moving into that new bedroom, and she's going to paint it whatever color, and she's going to have rainbows and unicorns in there. She may be the next president of the United States, and you just had a positive effect on that family. And to me, that's what this business is all about. And Marvin, you certainly lean into that. You embrace it with your entire beingness, and I love to see that. So. And to experience it for all of us. So well
I
done.
love, I love it. Love it.
Yes, well done. Thank you for doing that today. And if any of you have the opportunity to hear either our National Growth Summit event or our monthly mastermind calls that Marvin will come on sometimes, or they're in person in Colorado. Marvin teaches a lot of classes for there in Colorado. If you have that opportunity, I would encourage you to go attend, and you'll be inspired and you'll learn, and you'll be impacted in such a positive way. So go. Thank you, Marvin. Marvin, real quick, how can people get a hold of you? Website, yes, all the social platforms, etc.
All the social platforms. So my business platform is Smart Start Homeowners. And if you just type that into the search bar in social media, you'll find me all over the place. My strongest recommendation, if somebody wanted to reach out and just ask some advice, I'm open to all the agents nationally to be able to reach out and just give me a call. Call me directly, 720-422-1383, and I'll be glad to schedule a one-on-one coaching call free of charge. That's not something I charge about because I love contributing to another agent's progress. And regardless of the side of the country they're from, it doesn't matter.
That's
Wow.
very generous of you, Marvin. Thank you for offering that.
Very generous. Well, this has been a phenomenal episode, one of my favorites of the Real Estate Podcast by HomeSmart. I thank you all for joining us today. Marvin Martinez, thank you for joining us from Colorado. Rich LaRue, as always, thanks for being a great co-host. And all of you, we hope to see you back on future episodes. We'll see you back at the next Real Estate Podcast.
Like what you're hearing on The Real Estate? Tell your friends about us. Tell them to check out all of our episodes on Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and Spotify. And don't forget to send any topics you want us to tackle to therealestate@homesmart.com.